All right, welcome. Wanted to help you guys with part C of the project related to health insurance. I want to remind you that in each instance, you want to print all of your proof. And so in this case, we'll be printing a quote for our health insurance. We'll also have to have a page that outlines some of our copay information and how we've calculated that, as well as a piece of paper that talks about your over-the-counter expenses for things like Tylenol and any kind of cough medicine or anything that you might use. The last few are optional, and if you choose to have them, you'll want to make sure that you dedicate each a sheet to each of these items like gym membership and life insurance and vet and pet care. So let's start off with the health insurance. And you want to open these things into a new tab. So for many of you, you want to right click and open it in a new tab so that it's something that you can see separate. Now, what you'll click on the button to start shopping instead of continue, where mine said continue shopping. And you'll click on this yellow to start shopping. I've already kind of started that. You'll input your zip code. You'll say whether you're male or female. And you're going to put in your date of birth. You don't have to put in your actual date of birth. It's more so that they understand how old you are by year. The one thing I will say about the date of birth is that we want to get insurance for someone who's not your age currently, but is about 4 years older than you. If in your project, your education is going to take 4 years, then we want to take your real age, say you're born in 1996, and back that up to 1992. If your education is going to take 6 years or 8 years, you're going to want to subtract that amount from your birth date, birth year, and work backwards so that it makes you 4 years or 6 years or 8 years older. So again, if you're going to get a 4-year degree and you were born in 1996, we're going to say you were born in 1992 so we can obtain an insurance rate for someone who is 4 years older than you are presently. Hopefully you're not going to be a tobacco user, but if you are, you'll check yes. You're not going to check the full-time college student. You're not going to check that because this is, again, after you've already graduated from college. You'll click on continue. You're going to have to say that I don't qualify but still need insurance because the open enrollment period has passed already. And so we'll just say I don't qualify but I still need insurance. And what it's going to offer to us is some short-term plans because there is an open enrollment period related to the Affordable Care Act that has passed and it closed on March 31st. And we're not able to join that pool, but we can still obtain some insurance for a short period of time until the next window opens up for us to obtain insurance. And so you can look at the different plans and you'll notice that there's often a great disparity between some of these plans. And where they tend to differ the most is in their deductibles, right, as well as in their co-insurance amounts. And so the deductible is the amount of money that you have to pay before the insurance will start to pay for many things. For some things that are preventative, they'll often pay, but for many other types of treatment, you'll have to pay out that amount before the insurance will start to kick in. And when they do, they'll kick in at a specific rate. Sometimes it'll be 100%, sometimes it'll be 20% where this is the portion that you have to cover. So the lower this number, the better it is for you. That means the less out of your pocket that you have to pay. As you can see here, this policy that's cheaper has a high deductible, meaning you have to come up with more money out of your pocket. And when they do start paying, you have to pay 30% of those costs where they have to pay the other 70%. And so you can look at some of the plan's details, and many of them will simply require you to pay your deductible. And after that, after you have paid your deductible, which in this instance I believe was $10,000, you would then be eligible for co-insurance, meaning you're going to have to pay 30% and they're going to pay 70% of the cost for that doctor's visit. When it comes to prescription drugs, this particular plan, there's no coverage for prescriptions, so that's going to be up to you to pay for any prescriptions out of your pocket. So what they would typically call this is a catastrophic plan, meaning this plan is only going to really be useful if something really bad happens to you, which we hope doesn't happen. But you want to make sure that if you're going to take this policy, that you're doing so with that in mind, that this is not something that you're going to try to seek regular medical care with. This is something you're only likely to use in the event of something major happening to you. So if, let's say, you were to go with this plan, you would print this page and this would be your monthly cost. But in reality, we know that there are going to be some other costs associated with this plan. So if this were to be my amount, I would take that and I'll insert it into my overview. And so here in my overview, I'll take that amount. I believe it was $62.19. Just to verify. Yep. And we'll print this page so that we can include it in our project. So $62.19. Now where I'm going to start to pay for that plan is in the visits for the doctor. As a part of the project, I'm going to be having you assume that you visit the doctor at least once a year for some sort of checkup. You know yourself and whether you might get ill once a year that could require you to visit a doctor. And so we'll say that the per trip, the average cost, and this is from some data from the Department of Health and Human Services, the average visit is about $230. So we're going to make sure that we visit that doctor at least once a year. If your plan happens to have a co-payment amount, and they'll have a co-payment amount here where it says office visit for primary doctor. If it has a copay amount, then you just pay that copay amount. But in the event that yours does not, as ours does not, we'll have to assume that it's going to be about $230. It could be more than that, it could be less than that, but this is the best guess that we have, so that we'll use that number 230. And so we'll use that number 230 as that happens maybe once or twice a year, and if you get ill more frequently, then maybe you want to consider budgeting for more than once or twice a year. And so if, let's say, we were to visit twice a year as an example, we'll take the amount 460 and we're going to divide by 12, and that's going to give us an amount of $38.33 that we would want to budget for on a monthly basis. So we'll add that into our budget, $38.33. Now the next one is any types of medicine or over-the-counter drugs, things that you take that are prescriptions. We recall that this particular plan doesn't pay for any prescription drugs, and so that's going to be all up to us. So when we go to obtain a prescription, we'll pay the full cost, and the reality is that prescription drugs can be pretty pricey for just a 30-day supply, sometimes running into a couple to a few hundred dollars for a 30-day supply. So what we're going to do is, if you know of any prescriptions that you already take, you can include those costs. Otherwise, we'll just assume that you're going to have over-the-counter expenses. Over-the-counter expenses for things like Tylenol or cold medicine, things of that nature. So we can go visit CVS.com or Walgreens.com if you're partial. It doesn't really matter which one, as long as we get some data. And so I'm going to find some cough medicine, and this works for me. We'll add that to our cart, and once you've added a few things to your cart, as you see I have, we can go ahead and check out. So let's say these are the things that I believe I would use in a 1 year's period of time. I'll go ahead and print this page that has the total amount, and we'll include that into our budget. Now, if this is for 1 year, my amount here is $49.84. So 49.84 divided by 12, that results in a $4.15 cost per month. So I'll include that into my budget at $4.15. Now the next three, life insurance, vet and pet care, as well as gym membership, those things are, those are choices, those are optional. So if you're going to get a gym membership, I used in class LA Fitness because they pretty transparently showed their pricing information right there on the first page with the $99 initiation fee and a $29.95 per month. I would encourage you to try to negotiate the $99 initiation fee for LA Fitness or for any other gym for that matter, as it's a fee that you don't really get anything for. A lot of these organizations are going to be pretty flexible in terms of pricing. They'll have the ability to negotiate. I encourage you to do so. So we'll put into our budget $29.95 if you were to join a gym, or if you were to join LA Fitness. Oh yes, and don't forget, right, if you were going to join LA Fitness, you want to print this page that has the information on it about the cost. Next up, we've got life insurance. You can obtain life insurance from this page. Life insurance is something that is another option. It's a protection for your family. It really doesn't insure your life. It doesn't do much for you while you're alive. It does do things for your family in the event that you were to pass away. And so you can put your information in about when you were born. Again, pretending that you're born a little later than you really were, because we're going to forecast your age at the time of completion for your education. You'll put in your height and your weight. I don't know what those things are, but we'll just take a guess, and you can set your coverage amount, and we'll say whether you can say whether you want a term life policy or a lifetime policy. The lifetime policy tends to be a lot more expensive. The term life is only good for that period of time. So the cost is lower for a term life policy than it would be for a lifetime policy. And you can print this page after you select a quote. Obviously, there's differences between these companies, which truthfully isn't really something we need to get into at this juncture, but there are differences between the different companies and of course between the different policies, and so this is just like to get a roundabout idea for what these things cost. So if you want to include that into your budget, you would include it right here in C. And if you plan on having a furry one, if you plan on having a little pet, you can maybe find yourself a veterinarian online that you can get some different amounts for as far as what the cost is for their shots and vaccinations and so on. All right, that's our video for part C of the project.